let me talk about a different kind of
Mhm.
communication. Not that these all overlap, I believe.
Absolutely.
Okay. But I want to talk about setting goals. Okay.
Ooh.
So CEO's job is to help set goals.
Yep.
And my favorite framework is called the OKR framework, Objectives and Key Results. But there are many other frameworks out there to use. It's not important which framework. What's important is that the CEO needs to have a conversation with a direct report or the entire team about a goal. And the concept here is that the goal should be difficult but not impossible to achieve. It has to be
Mhm.
believable.
Adaptive leadership. Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Hmm.
But it's a stretch. And then after we agree, oh, I want you to achieve this much over this period of time, there's what I call a deeper level of conversation, which is a commitment conversation. And this is very rare for CEOs to do this. But the commitment conversation goes like this. Let's pretend, Doug, you're the one who just signed up for this aggressive goal.
Hmm.
Commitment conversation is, Doug, are you ready to commit to this goal?
Yeah.
Now, you said yes a few minutes ago, but I'm talking about making a commitment to me as the CEO that you're going to do everything in your power to make this happen. Because the CEO might say, I don't want you to commit unless you truly believe you can give it your best. Maybe this goal is too aggressive. And that's very rare for a CEO to say, maybe it's too aggressive and you don't believe it's possible. Maybe you're worried about how you're going to get it done. Let's have this conversation today rather than at the end of the quarter to discover that you never really believed in this goal and you weren't committed to it, because that's not the kind of relationship I, the CEO, want to have with you. I want to have a level of commitment that you're prepared to make to me.
Let me give you one other tool. But that's great. And let me give you one other tool to add to that. So you can ask about commitment, and if you've got a great, honest relationship, you can probably have a good conversation. But what if you ask the question like this? What are all the things that are going to get in the way of you not fulfilling this goal, achieving
Mm,
this goal?
mm. So that's going to uncover things that have in the back of their mind but haven't put forth yet.
Exactly. And then the next question is, and so what happens if something goes wrong and we fall off the wagon? What's going to be our process for getting reignited? So you're anticipating failure in the conversation
That's right.
and talking about it.
That's right. Now I do that through a slightly different process, which
Hmm.
is if we agree on the goal, let's say for the quarter, the next step I ask the CEO to do is say, ask, okay, Doug, I'm going to ask you now, bring me a plan.
Ah, there you go. I love
Okay.
that. Hmm.
Okay. Because we're going to do the hard work up front.
There you go.
What's today? January 3rd. We're going to do it at the beginning of the quarter,
Right.
not at the end of the quarter. And I'm going to work with you, Doug, to review that plan. We're going to test the feasibility. We're going to make sure there's buffer in there. We're
That's
going to
right.
anticipate problems. Only then are we going to be comfortable that we have something that's possible here. And by the way, every single week we're going to meet and I'm going to ask you to report to me how are you doing against the plan?
Right. Accountability.
Because if you're not falling behind somewhere, we don't have a good plan because the plan will never survives contact with the enemy.
That's right.
I'm offering a complimentary coaching session to CEOs. If you're accepted, you'll receive a one-on-one coaching session with me at absolutely no cost or obligation. Due to my current commitments, I'm only able to accept a modest number of requests for coaching. During the coaching session, we'll immediately go to work and address your highest priority challenges. You will walk away with ways to begin solving your biggest problems. And you'll get a sense for whether or not we're a fit for each other. To see if you qualify for this coaching session, visit the website currently showing on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you.
There are a couple of things I really love about that. Number one, the CEO is now acting as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
What I think the primary role of a CEO is. I mean, have you read the book Leadership Without Easy Answers by Joseph Heifetz out of
I
Harvard?
have not. No.
Make a note of it. It's a really great book.
Leadership with
So
easy.
he Leadership Without Easy Answers. He
Without
talks
easy.
about the difference between adaptive leadership and technical leadership, and you defined. I said adaptive leadership because you were saying we want to set a goal that's difficult but not impossible.
Ah, yes.
And he talks about all the challenges that come up when you do that. However, but the point that I'm making is that number one, you're acting as a coach, which I think is the primary job
Mm-hmm.
of a CEO. And number
Mm-hmm.
two, you're making the other person do the work, so the gorilla comes off your back. And number three, you're providing accountability. Brilliant, brilliant.
That's right. Well, there's
And
another.
what's amazing to me, what's amazing to me is that this isn't common sense to CEOs. It's so obvious to me and you, but to them, no.
Well, this is why we're here to help educate, right? There's another level, which is when I'm going to go back to, I'm the CEO, Doug. You're the person who signed up for the goal. The third week of the quarter, when you start falling behind, and it goes from green to yellow or red, there are two things. One, I'm not going to be the one asking about how it's going. It's your responsibility to report to me how it's going. Now, I'm going to solve that problem by putting it at the top of our agenda. It's just going to sit there,
Right.
and you have to report. But the minute it turns yellow or red, you need to bring to me your recommendation on what to do about it. I'm not here to solve your problem.
That's right.
I'm here to support you in solving your problem. But you talked about where the monkey's sitting on whose back.
That's right.
I'm not taking on your problem. Now, if this is a critical project and I think you're failing and you can't solve the problem, then I have a bigger problem, which is you. But I might step into a mode of deeper coaching to help you get through this. And if I think you can grow through it, then you're what I call a keeper, someone I want in my organization. I might have to work hard to train you, to coach you, to mentor you, but I want to keep you. But if you can't get beyond, even with my coaching, then you're probably not a keeper, someone I want in my organization.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good. And that allows you to then have set points of how long you're going to tolerate this, and give you some things to look at, measurable outcomes that you can look at, and
Exactly
determine whether or not are they the right person for the job.
Exactly right. Now, there's another level here. One of my CEOs said, Glenn, I did this and everything was green until the last 2 weeks of the quarter. And all of a sudden it lit up like a Christmas tree, lots of yellows and reds. So we talked about what really happened there. And what really happened there is that people were afraid to share with the CEO that things were not going well.
That's right.
So
Big deal.
The issue was the way the CEO was being.
And that's an issue of trust and an issue of emotional safety. I'm going to go back to the Aristotle Project, Google's Aristotle Project. And that's where my skills are important, because if you don't have the trust of your team, they're going to hide stuff from you.
Absolutely.
And you're screwed. So what you have to do is build that trusting relationship where it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay as long as we can talk about it.
Right.
Nobody knows that they're not going to get punished or penalized. They're not going to get their head snapped off. We're going to solve this problem as a group or together.
Right.
That is essential. And that's a hard skill to learn.
Yes, it is. And it's hard to recognize when it's happening. So my CEO at this time didn't even know it was happening.
Right.
He thought he was not a person who would suppress or inadvertently suppress bad information.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that whole concept of, I mean, in Heifetz's book, this book's 1997. I mean, he writes about the psychological functions of a leader are focus, direction, and safety, in that order. And safety would then obviously built upon a decade ago in the Aristotle Project at Google, where they looked at what separates the top tenth of 1% of our teams from everybody else.
Hmm.
One thing, psychological safety.
Fascinating.
That's the only difference.
Fascinating.
And how do you create psychological safety? That's the function of a leader. To prevent the kind of problem you were just talking about, where things will look like they're going along really great, and then you come to the end and the whole thing explodes because people were lying to you.
Right.
Interesting.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we could talk forever. Really interesting work. So I can see why you're so satisfied, why this work is so satisfying with you, because you can watch these CEOs who probably come at their problem with really great technical skills, but don't always have the best leadership skills. And
Well,
these are skills that have to be learned. It's
that's
not
right.
innate.
That's right. There's a fascinating statistic in the venture world, which is within a 5-year period, about 60% of those CEOs are going to be fired.
Right.
Now, you step back and say, why is that? Now, the easy answer is because they're not growing the companies fast enough. There are expectations about growing a company, and they're just not doing it, and so they get removed. But if you go the next level down, you say, why is that CEO not growing the company fast enough? Now, what's interesting is the CEO was probably the right CEO when they went to raise that round. They were the right person at the right time. They made the right pitch. They had the right team. But that was a company at a point in time. And the minute they got that next round, now they have a new company, a new set of requirements,
That's right.
and a new set of skills that are required to grow
That's
the
right.
company. And many founders can't break out of their initial set of skills.
That's right. We see this all the time.
So
And
I go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're absolutely right. Companies go through an evolutionary process. And unless you're one of those really rare, talented people that can grow with the company, there's going to come a point in time where the company is no longer something you can lead because you don't have the skill set for it.
That's right.
And there's a difference between startup, first seed, and now you're starting to scale, the scaling process,
Right.
and then finally you reach maturity. Very different leadership skills through those different processes.
Very different. Well, and there are many, many steps along the way.
That's right. I summarized something that's very complex.
You need a new set of skills. So I talked to CEOs about neural pathways. And I talked to them, I said, you're a CEO, you have, I'm going to call them success patterns that have gotten you where you are.
Right.
And what do we do as humans is we rely on those success patterns. Why? Because they work until they don't.
Exactly.
This is the greatest frustration of CEOs when they apply their success patterns and they're not working. Oh, the company isn't growing as fast. We're not getting products out. I have a high turnover. I don't have a good relationship with one of my board members.
Right.
I keep trying to do what has made me successful,
And it's not working.
and it's not working.
Right.
And so massive frustration here, rightfully so. So a lot of my work is helping CEOs understand that, first of all, this is why this is happening. And secondly, we need to develop new success patterns.
Wow.
That's not easy. That's going to be difficult. It's going to be really uncomfortable.
And it's sometimes it's shaming and embarrassing and humiliating because you got to learn a whole new set of skills. You thought you were competent, now you're not.
That's right. And guess what? You may have to step into areas that you don't really want to do. This is not what you signed up for. I hear this a lot from CEOs. This is not the job I signed up for.
Right.
And yet, no, now you need to work on HR and finance and marketing and manufacturing and other things that maybe didn't bring you to the party in the first place. But as a CEO, you need to have skills to be able to understand those functions, manage the people in those functions, manage new customer and investor relationships, all things that you didn't know coming in. So I'm here to help you develop those skills and nudge you out of your comfort zone to go do what you have to do to be successful.
And there you go. In a nutshell, that's what you do. I got one more question for you, Glenn. This has been a great conversation. We could go on forever. We can't because I got to keep it under a timeline. What is one thing about yourself that we would never know about unless you revealed it to us?
I am an adventure nut.
Really?
So every chance I get, I want to be outdoors doing some kind of adventure. So I am a big biker, road bike, gravel biking, mountain biking. I do that as often as I can. I ski, alpine skiing is my preference as much
Mhm.
as I can. I am a beginner wing foiler. I
Oh, wow.
won't even describe what that sport is, but
That sounds scary.
I switched from kite surfing to wing foiling.
Okay.
And so I'm on this
Oh, wait,
big,
that's on a board that has the thing under the it's a
yes,
surfboard like, but it's got a wing underneath it. Is it electric
exactly,
or are you pumping it?
both.
Okay.
So I can do e-foiling and I can do wing foiling, and
Fun.
I'm very big into learning curves. If I'm on a learning curve, I'm very happy
There
about
you
that.
go. Yeah.
And I'm into balance,
Balance
not balancing on the wing foil, but balance in my life.
in life.
So I have a wonderful, supportive family, and my wife and I spend time elsewhere as often as we can. So, for example, I live in Silicon Valley, except during the summer, where I live on the East Coast in the town where my wife grew up, just north of Boston. We go there every summer. And at least once a year, we're going to go away for a month.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to work part time while I'm gone, but this year we're going to New Zealand for the month of February.
Oh, fun.
I'll work part time, but we will have a blast while we're there,
Good for you.
doing as many adventure things as we can.
Well, we have a lot in common. I'm a level 3 certified ski instructor. Used to do a lot of mountaineering and rock climbing. That's where I lived near Yosemite,
Ah,
and
right.
kayaking, whitewater kayaking and rafting and crazy stuff
Fantastic.
like that. Yeah. Well, Clint, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. I know my audience is going to love this show. So thank you
Good.
so much, and I wish you the very best in the year to come. And I mean, amazing. You're just an amazing guy. Thank you again.
Thank you. Very much enjoyed it, Doug. I learned a lot from you.
Absolutely.